Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for Fast Friday. It gets incredibly serious, it gets incredibly quick, and the wind has turned up. We are so looking forward to today, to seeing Indy cars on the edge and at the limit. Well, we are already seeing laps turned, and we've already seen a lap of 233.9 miles an hour. Yes, with a tow, but that's still pretty impressive. Guys, yesterday we did morning math with Will. I'm going to give you one simple equation for today. Speed equals distance traveled over time elapsed. That is it. That is all that matters on Fast Friday.
That is it. Let me simplify the math, Will. Mile per hour equals happy. Let's just get it down to brass tacks here. Come on.
Keep it simple.
I mean, 233.9 to kick things off for the Yellow Submarine. And guys, we're talking average, not top speed, average.
And I'll tell you what though, Scott McLaughlin and the engineers on this stand, they're not happy. They're actually very annoyed right now because that was not an honest run. That was not a clean run. That does not give them the information they need to make those crucial decisions on things like wing angles, on things like gear selection. So as much as the number is cool and it makes us happy, I bet Scott McLaughlin's actually a little annoyed right now that he caught Ryan Hunter right
I bet it felt pretty good. Hey, they'll get several runs today. Might as well kick it off with a bang.
This has all been within 1/10 of a mile an hour over 3 laps. That tells me two things. The car's pretty quick and handling well, but it also tells me he's probably got more downforce on than he'll ultimately run, seeing almost no fall off in the tires.
So this would be lap 4 of turn 3, the hardest corner. Let's see if it can hold the throttle wide open. That is a little moment right there. He didn't lift, but there's a lift. That got his attention.
He was 1 corner away from finishing the run.
High percentage decision right there.
Flag.
Don't force it. It freed up on him, Will.
And am I right? He didn't use the hybrids at all.
He probably was about to. He was probably planning to use it out of 4 coming to the line and give it 1 full burst into the headwind.
Up to that moment, an incredibly impressive run.
A wake-up call on Fast Friday right here. Watch his hands. How many young drivers would have stayed with it and thought, oh, that's no big deal? Alex Palou making a good decision, I think. Kevin, reality check moment for Rinus VeeKay. The first pure, clean read on what he has with his new team,
Keep going.
Dale Coyne Racing. He has never qualified worse than 7th in 5 previous tries at Indy, all with Ed Carpenter Racing. Dale Coyne Racing, much smaller organization. So Rinus VeeKay going to find out what they can do for him. Now, Dale Coyne has had some very fast race cars at Indy through the years. I think back specifically to Sebastian Bourdais, who had a pole-winning car seemingly until he crashed it hard in turn 2 here. So Rinus VeeKay, what did he get on that first lap? A 2:26.2.
You heard something
he's
over the radio
out of it,
saying, stick with it, try and finish it. So if he's had an issue, he's going to try to just be hanging on to this thing and not pushing too hard. 2:26.9 on that lap. So Rinus not happy at all.
Guys, we are building a fairly large circle of racers and teams that we could draw around right now and say, these guys could be in trouble come Sunday.
Like this guy here, Castro Neves, 4-time winner of this race, and he's got such a unique line here in qualifying, Townsend. We're already seeing it. One of the only drivers that will stay above.
I thought he was going to get in the fence there. He looked so high.
Stay above the white line in all 4 corners for all 4 laps. He'll be the only guy that you see do that. It's an old school way of getting around this place, but hey, this is definitely a format that's worked well for him. Though he clearly had a lifted 3 because that was only a 2:26. Not going very quickly right now.
If I could be in the cockpit with him, I would be begging him, hey, at least just in turn 3 with the tailwind, buddy, can you get below that apex? But
And then he'll
hold up his ways.
He'll hold up his hand and give you he'll fold his thumb in front of his palm. The other 4 fingers will be waving to you.
And I'll be forced to hold up my empty 10 fingers. So advantage Elio strongly. But the speed right now, this is a car that handled so well in traffic.
Without that lift,
28.4.
Yeah, definite lift. You could hear him off throttle. You could hear the engine note through there. Castro Neves with a 226, then a 228. We'll see what lap does for him. Interestingly, got rid of all his hybrid on his warm-up lap.
Little wiggle right there, Will. This is looking dicey. Back end of the car in turn 3, stepped out.
Thanks, Pato.
Big crash, big crash. That's Kiffin Simpson out of turn 4 and rolling back into pit lane. Big crash for the Ganassi driver.
Yeah, I'm okay, but man, that was loose.
Most important thing, Kiffin on the radio right away, telling the crew that he is okay.
AMR safety team immediately on the scene.
We've seen this a lot too. Look, there's no easy corner here at the Speedway, especially in qualifying trim, especially in these types of windy conditions. As the boost has gone up and the downforce goes down, these cars seem to be getting harder and harder to drive, understeer in one corner, oversteer in the next.
Just the second Indy 500 for Kiffin Simpson, and this is confirmation to every driver that ran before, that lifted, that bailed out, that came to pit lane. That little moment with Alex Palou, Kiffin Simpson just validated, if you try to stick with it when it's loose, bad things can happen, as we take a look for the first time.
Oh, there it is.
Exact same wiggle that Palou had in turn 3.
And then the rear is just gone, and he's, oh, wow, that is big. Lucky boy.
Ride for Kiffin Simpson.
Lucky boy.
Car came back down, thankfully. There are holes in the floors to try to prevent the cars from going airborne and flipping over. You saw it go up. It should have, you know, by physics, you would have thought that car was going over, but the advancements that IndyCar's made on the floors of these cars definitely came into play there. You see those holes there just behind the front wheels.
And importantly, keeping the car low and not just upright, but not allowing it to fly too high. But that is a massive hit.
Safer barrier doing its job phenomenally. So too the Dallara chassis.
But that nervous little twitch was exactly what Palou had, and it was tiny.
But it was such a little moment. And then as soon as you catch it, the rear is going away from you.
Because it's in sort of a tank slapper oscillation, and the more mass with the hybrid at the back of the car, that used to be a catchable moment. And now it's a wiggle and then a second response, uncatchable.
It's one of those things very reminiscent to Marcus Ericsson's crash there last year, where I think in that case he maybe touched the curb. We see that a lot in turn 4. You're trying to keep the car down, you're trying to shorten the distance in qualifying. We didn't have an onboard for Kiffin, so from the angle we had, I couldn't see if that left front maybe brushed that apex curbing or not. But
you see Kiffin sitting on the wall and exhaling, and I don't think it's a stretch to say that that young man just experienced the biggest crash of his life.
Time will tell, and we will see as he crosses the bricks. Gets started on his run. Marco Andretti, if he qualifies for the Indianapolis 500, will join a select group to have contested 20 of these great races.
Green flag this time by.
I think it's something like 13 drivers in history have made that marker. Pretty impressive. So that's considered the green Andretti's warm-up lap, 2:17.2. So again, when we reference quali sim, that's a qualifying simulation, trying to go through all the steps and procedures that they're going to have to do tomorrow. It's out of the pits, a warm-up lap, 4 laps at pace. Something fell off the back of that car.
Yeah.
They would have, hopefully someone on the stand saw that, and I'd be calling them in as well.
Wide open through turns 3 and 4.
Going to start lap 2 on the back straight.
Mario Andretti, his grandfather, watches with great intrigue. What was that first lap?
it's intriguing. We don't have a
230.5.
That's pretty good pace.
That's not bad at all, but clearly that whatever flew off the car didn't stay on the racetrack, because we're not seeing a yellow.
Yeah.
It must have gone
bizarre.
Any chance that was a bird? I didn't catch it. I just caught it out of the corner of my eye.
Little lift, and
now
there's a caution out.
There we go, yellow now. Yellow now for debris.
And
Yellow debris.
that might just be race control seeing what we saw and said, we're not sure what it is or where it is, but let's pull him in.
So we're getting a replay here. Yeah, just there.
Is it the Buckeye cover?
Oh, you know what, mate? It might be.
No.
No, it was further back than that.
It's a different looking piece of carbon, I guess.
Well, a sharp piece of carbon fiber out there on track.
Not what you want.
Could be a piece of the wrap of the livery, because it laid so flat on the ground.
Let's try to look, see what's missing back there.
Is it something from inside the wheel rim? Is there something broken off on the right-hand side?
Can't
from
tell
the
if
upright.
that's broken or if that's just...
I think you're right, Will.
It might be right, yeah. Inside of the wheel, those covers.
Could be a piece of the carbon laminate, maybe just the top layer that came.
Something's broken on that rear right.
And we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but here's another great opportunity to listen to what one of these runs sounds like. The engine sounds a little low right now. It doesn't really sound like it's accelerating. It's because the car is in a cool map designed to keep the engine temperatures down. A cold engine is a fast engine, T-Bell, up to a certain point. You see 205 miles an hour flat out. That's because he's going to come out of 2, flip a switch, and that thing's going to light up.
Let's light this candle. Dixon works the knobs and watch the speed climb.
Afterburners engaged in the fighter jet, glued to the ground.
He's using the fast jacker there. Down the back straightaway, finds 230 miles an hour, holds it wide open, 5th gear. Left thumb, going to go down to the fast jack right there.
It's just dropping the right rear corner, trying to get the rear wing out of the air. Dixon 2:17.1 on his warm-up lap, comparable to what we've seen. 2:30 through the corners.
A little surprised that Scott Dixon doesn't look at the technique that Alex Palou uses with trigger buttons on the back of the wheel for the fast jack. It doesn't seem that ergonomically friendly to have to move your hand and your thumb twice a lap, but
he's not even.
Who am I to second guess? Old Dixie.
He's not even using that style of wheel. He's still with an old style produced by MPI. 231, 232. 234 miles an hour as he turns in flat out to turn 1.
What really matters is the average, and for Scott Dixon, he is right level with his teammate Alex Palou. 230.6 on that lap. Palou did a 230.7. That puts them 6th and 7th right now for fastest laps. Let's see what the consistency looks like. I'm watching his hands. What's the balance like in 3? Looked a little dicey, but he hung on. Remember, one teammate bailed out of a run. His other teammate rode off his race car. So this is kind of sketchy stuff for Dixon, because he knows their setup probably not that different.
The engineers would have done an early dive into the data from Kevin Simpson's car to see if there was anything glaring that stood out. Clearly nothing that concerned them as far as what's on Dixon's car as well. You note he has not touched that hybrid yet. Looking like we're going to see a 4th lap deployment.
Very consistent run for Dixon. That last lap just down to 230.59, so almost a 230.6 as he comes through turn 4.
And this is super impressive, guys, with the extra weight we're seeing in these race cars and the track temps.
After signaling your white flag, deploy.
So white flag deploy.
Hey, James, that was faster. That's the fastest lap Dixon's done on lap 3. That is impressive. We haven't seen much of that so far. And now the hybrid deploys on the trickle strategy. Just a drip of hybrid boost over this entire final lap.
We're seeing them shifting, we're seeing them fast jacking, but we're not seeing a lot of adjustments to the other tools for handling weight jacker and the bars. So the car fairly comfortable for Dixon at this phase.
Let's see how much more speed the hybrid can give him, or how much more consistent it makes lap 4 as Dixon completes this run. He'll come across the line at a 2:31.0. We're in the hybrid era, but it's nothing like what we've seen before.
Fastest lap on lap 4 with 125-degree track temps. I've never seen anything like that here in qualifying at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This is a different era for IndyCar racing.
So 3 Indy 500s on the resume for Kyle Kirkwood, and a veteran move there to identify a seemingly tiny little issue, but confirming. Trust but verify. If it sounds like and feels like and looks like a lot like airplane protocols, that's because they're going airplane fast, and when things go wrong, it looks like an airplane crash. Whoa, Will Power high in turn 2, and he dumps the throttle.
Already off the pace. That's just highlighting how difficult it is for these drivers.
Woo! That was a big moment. So much going on at 230 miles an hour, and Power just never got down to that apex that he's used to, and the car started to take off. That looked like an Helio Castroneves intended line, but that's not how Will Power normally drives it here.
You can see how the right side tires are kind of up in that it's almost like a brown color of the racetrack. Yeah, you know, you see that dark rubbered in line, and as soon as the right side tires kind of get up into that lighter asphalt, the grip just goes away exponentially.
Yeah, so we're going to multitask with the IndyCar rookie who has great experience and success in the Formula One ladder. Well, before we talk about you, what are you seeing from Callum here, and what can you learn when you watch your teammate run?
Well, I see that, you know, like his first run, he got a bit compromised by David Malukas, so he didn't manage to do a good stint. I think overall we're both quite aligned with the car. I feel pretty good with the car, so honestly I have a good feeling. I think Callum is struggling a little bit more at this stage. So yeah, I don't know what they're doing exactly. They're trying to figure out how to help him out. From my side, honestly, I had a good run this morning. Yeah, it was interrupted by a big crash. So luckily everybody's fine, is good. Kiffin is good. So that's the important part, because I've seen the car. It was pretty damaged. So yeah, but luckily everything is fine from our side. Yeah, we did the first run. It's first experience, my first Fast Friday. I'm really happy to be here, and yeah, I'm enjoying it.
What did that feel like going, say, 235 plus miles an hour for the first time?
Honestly, it felt amazing. We even looked my top speed that I reached, if we speak in kilometers, because, you know, I come from Europe, so it's 385 kilometers an hour. That's the fastest I've ever driven anything so far in my life. So, yeah, definitely impressive.
Let's go with that, guys. 385 instead of 240. Maybe we can get to 390K.
Sounds good to me. Callum Ilott went 228.9, James, and then reported loose. And that 4-letter word that's dominating the day, bail. Dude, bail.
Colton Herta back out on track here at Indianapolis. James, what do you make of what you see?
Tiny little lifts in both 1 and 2 on that first lap. Still managed to pull off a 230.35. Watching and listening for this second lap. North end of the racetrack. Keeps it pinned through 3. No issues through 4. Let's see what kind of pace we can pick up for lap 2 here with Colton.
2:30.6. It's faster. It moves him up the overall time charts, and considering that he's on a run, little wiggle there, that's very positive.
And he's trying a different strategy. There's a slow burn of hybrid deployment as he uses every inch of racetrack off of 2. But even with that extra power, that little bit of extra boost being deployed, he was still able to keep it pinned in 1 and 2. Same in 3. He's been one of the most consistently flat drivers that we've seen.
So he did a 230.3, then a 230.6. This lap, a 230.3. That is consistent.
This is in the same sort of realm of consistency that we saw out of Scott Dixon. That hybrid still just slowly trickling down.
It's well over a lap. Well over a lap of usage. Final little dregs of power through turn 3 into the short chute. 4 to go. Throttle application's been great. Barely a lift. Down the straight and down the line. 230.6, 230.3. And again, a 230.3. That is supremely consistent from Colton Herta.
Improves his 4-lap average to a 230.413.
Right, Connor Daly back out again for Juncos Hollinger. He's not had such a happy day of things. 22nd fastest as it stands at the moment, 228.9 his fastest speed, but it's the consistency, it's the ability to put together the 4 laps and the lack of pace that he's not been happy with. He said that the ride height might have been an issue on his last run. Let's check in and see how he feels on this one.
Yeah, he's not completed a 4-lap run yet today, so this will hopefully be his first as he comes around to complete the warm-up lap. This would be getting the theoretical green on a quali sim.
Brings those iconic AM/PM colors to Indianapolis with this new full primary sponsorship. That's pretty cool to see. Connor Daly, always a fan favorite, and when driver introductions happen a week from Sunday, the roar will not be louder, except for maybe Ed Carpenter. I'd say on level with Connor Daly. The fans love their local talent, and Connor has not disappointed, leading several laps in the last few years and showing good pace and racecraft.
209.5 was his warm-up pace. First lap around is a 230.6. That's more like it, Connor.
Sporty.
Now you got to get to work. It's a little high there at the exit of turn 1. Throttle, though, still absolutely pinned, so that's a good sign.
There's a little lift there in 2.
Did you see one?
Yeah, saw a little lift there. Pulls the gear up into 6th. Look, we've kind of passed,
a big lift.
We've kind of passed the apex of heat for the time of the day. The track temperature for the first time starting to fall back down. 127 right now, down from the peak of 130 average around the track. But we heard about that 138-degree reading in turn 1.
So we saw the lift. 230.6 is a 230.1 lap 2, so half a mile an hour lost. Not as much as it could have been.
And now he's lifting in turn 1 and turn 2. And presumably we'll see a lift in 3.
Still has a full hybrid pack. Will be interesting to see if he decides to do the full lap slow burn deployment or go for one quick boost on that final lap. Able to keep it pinned in 4 after a small lift in 3. There you go. There's the deploy. It's that slow burn for the white flag. The final lap, lap 3, was a 230.2. He picked it up.
Dude, the consistency again. This is like Herta's run. This is nice, and now he has the hybrid to his advantage as well. And this is much more like it for Connor Daly.
Well, this is a much faster trickle deploy. About a half a lap depleted the full pack as opposed to a full lap trickle down. That's programmable from the team. And this is an encouraging run for Connor Daly, although an even bigger lift this lap down in turn 3 as the tires wear. I'll tell you what, though, if this guy factors into the top 5, with 5 laps to go in the Indy 500, this place will go nuts.
Over the line for Daly, his 4th and final lap. Oh, it's a big drop off. It's 228.5, even with the hybrid utilization. But
to get on the levers with the anti-roll bars and using the weight jacker. Oh, and Kyle Larson's backwards. Big hit on the nose of the car.
Nose into the wall. Big spin for Larson. Rear will go in. And Kyle, I guess we have to let you go.
Yeah, I got to get back to work. Thanks, guys.
Get back to work, Kyle. Thanks so much for coming up, my man.
First qualifying effort of the day. Kyle Larson.
Second crash this year at this track. This time getting backwards. The last one was a glancing blow, but it's good to see Kyle Larson jump out immediately. And there's never a great way to crash, James, but at least it hit the nose square.
You know what?
In terms of not damaging the other corners or the motor or the back of the car as much.
Yeah, but at the same time, going in head first is one of the worst ways to hit. There's just less crash structure to absorb energy. You think back to the 500 a few years ago, Monday practice, Stefan Wilson spun all the way around and went nose first into the wall, ended up with a fractured spine.
This is exactly what the Hans device was designed. Did you see a little puff like his car bottomed?
Bottomed, maybe.
Yeah. He was over. He was really over far left. So if you look at his left wheels, if we see that one back, he's way over on the dirt.
But the right front, right rear, left rear corner, there's the impact at the back, though, that second hit. And it was pretty square on the attenuator. So optimistic that his race car... Oh, vicious.
You can see he stuck the throttle down. He kind of stayed with it. That's what made it spin around so quick. A lot of times when you see a driver lose it and they've accepted they've lost it, they hammer the brake pedal. But here, see those rear tires keep spinning. You see that little bump, Townsend. It just sort of reacts to a bump on the racetrack. I guess he did get to the brakes. You see the front lock up.
And it's, you know, the corner that's been causing all the problems today, where everyone's either been preemptively backing out or they've had to back out because they've had a little wobble. It's turn 3.
This is a remarkable crash. I've never seen an IndyCar hit front and rear square. So
in the same crash.
In the same crash, and as Tony Kanaan looks on, and again, never a good crash, but hopefully they're able to get the car repaired relatively swiftly. Listen.
I tell you what, though, this guy has been lighting up the Indianapolis Motor Speedway today. He's having a wonderful time. You saw earlier the smile plastered across his face. Robert Schwartzman has just gone faster than he's ever been at the Motor Speedway. 231.2 drops down to a 230.9. Prema are on a tear.
And we're looking at a guy whose career oval racing experience is 0.
Yeah.
Never done it before. Massively impressive what he's shown the last couple days, but specifically today. Look at this guy going 239 miles an hour into turn 3, and the balance of the race car looking excellent, James. It's confident. It looks like he knows what to expect right now, and very smooth.
Yeah, I mean, only 11 laps on the day on his 12th circuit right now, so decided to keep the running limited as he clocks in a 230.920 on that run, on that lap rather. So consistent run, but these conditions much closer to what we're expecting tomorrow from a track temperature standpoint. Maybe a little calmer on the wind side than what we expect to see, but smart move from the team to put the rookie out in slightly more favorable conditions, get him comfortable, get him a little bit more experience in this qualifying format, and build that confidence ahead of tomorrow.
Oh, he's getting awfully close to the curb in turn 4.
Run it through.
But he completes the 4-lap run. This is top 5 kind of stuff.
Oh, it's another 231.
231.077 average puts him 4th on the charts.
Ahead of Scott Dixon, Marcus Ericsson, Will Power, all Indy 500 winners.
Well, it has been rough, and this is not the first time that he's been in this situation. Bumped a couple of years ago. It's been difficult for the last few years to find pace. Let's listen after the latest run just moments ago for Graham Rahal.
It just has no lateral bite. Like anything I do, it just loose within the understeer level just feels like it just feels like the car never takes it. It's been this way all week.
He said before that, I just don't understand. He sounds really worried right now, and even more so when he was first rolling down towards the pit lane after that run.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing this again. He's made a run earlier and sat for most of the day, and for a team who we really celebrate their strategic thinking, leading the championship in dominant fashion, it tells me a lot that they've decided to make their second run right now in these conditions as they look to tomorrow and try to closely match the same environment. Alex Palou taking turn one.
Interesting, used 40% of his hybrid on the run to start his lap.
This thing's hooked up. Remember, he had an issue in turn 3 that he bailed out of earlier.
But that was still after runs with maybe not quite the same pace we saw out of his teammate Scott Dixon, but 239 miles an hour, just tickling it down into turn 3.
Not even a hesitation, not even a thought of a lift through 3.
106 degrees track temp at the moment, ambient holding pretty steady. Burning more hybrid now.
The remaining, well, 50% of it gone.
And a big lap.
232.5 for Alex Palou. Fastest
non-tow lap. Sorry, T-Bell. Even though Colin Herta is on track in front of him now, I think he might be on a warm-up lap. Just pulling out of the pits.
Regen. First time we've seen that from a Ganassi. Up to 100.
First time we've seen it from anyone that's not a Penske, which is an interesting strategy, especially with less wind. Not necessarily something we would have expected.
2 more laps.
So 232.5 was his first. 232.4. My goodness, this is consistent and quick.
And he burned that hybrid on that front straight. Multiple deployments so far. Is he going to charge it up again?
Oh, and look at him. He's pinned. He's absolutely pinned.
Slight adjustment to the front bar as he charges the hybrid. This is a very strong run from Palou. 237 turning in.
Not even a hint of a waver on that throttle.
Balance still looks really good as Alex Palou comes off of turn 4. He's got 60% of hybrid to deploy, and he uses all of it here on the front straightaway into the wind.
While he's doing that, Herta jumps up to third with a 232.0 on his first lap of this run. Palou's lap across the line,
232.0. Every lap so far in the 232s for the championship leader. This is a statement run from Alex Palou at the end of the day.
Don't know if it'll be quicker than McLaughlin's 4-lap average, but I think it's going to be close as long as he makes it through 3, and he does, wide open.
Wow, the commitment. Absolutely stunning. What a 4-lap run from Alex Palou over the line. That lap was a 232.1 every lap in the 232s.
And that's the fastest 4.
As we sit on board with Scott Dixon, Georgia is down in pit lane with a man who has been really in the crosshairs of our focus for much of today, Carl Larson.
Yeah, absolutely, Will. Carl Larson went out for an install lap just to make sure everything was straight and working how it was supposed to. Is it?
Yeah, everything they said checked out good, in the garage, on the scales and alignment and all that. So, yeah, just wanted to come out here and just get up to somewhat speed to make sure it all was good. So, yeah, thankfully it was. So we'll reset for tomorrow and, just have a better day.
We hope so. Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, thanks.
So running on board with Scott Dixon. Currently 14th on the overall fastest lap times. McLaughlin, your fastest 1-lap speed at 233.954, but his 4-lap average was a 232.2. Palou the best so far today on a 232.3 average for the 4 laps.
So he is keeping hybrid in the bag. A little different than what we saw out of Alex Palou. This looks like it might be a last lap deployment.
Whoa, 232.5.
That is now the quickest no-tow lap, same 1/10 of a mile an hour as his teammate Palou. Ganassi using these ideal conditions to really flex their muscle and show the speed of these Hondas.
3.
Dixon using his experience, not needing the hybrid as of yet. Very different strategy to his teammate.
But a great comparison. Such a perfect back-to-back run for teammates to get an ultra-clean data set. We'll find out, does Dixon use a trickle technique? He will. It starts to drop down on the hybrid.
2:32.391, lap 2.
Let's see what this hybrid deployment yields. This will give us a really good idea of what he might be able to gain. He makes exactly like his teammate Alex Palou. He softens the front roll bar deep into the run for a little bit more front grip through the corners.
This is the strategy we saw from Colton Herta as far as hybrid deployment. Getting down now, he'll hit 0 by the start-finish line.
This looks like perfect execution in terms of the process.
Trickle down over the lap, crosses the line. It's a 2:32.5 again.
Wow.
Dixon absolutely motoring.
Okay, but now he's got no hybrid left, and we've heard from multiple teams and both engine manufacturers that when the hybrid system is at 0 state of charge, as you see there, it does have a tiny bit more drag through the drive chain than if it was full. Is that going to cost Dixon on this final lap?
He just went 240 miles an hour into turn 3, so not looking.
Survey says no.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Let's see the drop-off. 2:32.5 on the 3rd lap. The 4th lap over the line for Scott Dixon is going to be a 2:31.9, so lost 0.6 of a mile an hour. But Scott Dixon, with that 4-lap average, jumps up to 2:32.386. Here's your best 4-lap averages of the day. Scott Dixon at the top of the pile, 2:32.3 average from Alex Palou, Scott McLaughlin, Colton Herta, and Kyle Kirkwood. Then Rosenqvist and Lundgaard. Schwartzman, really the surprise of the day in P8 from Stingray Robb, another positive surprise in 9th, and Marcus Ericsson 10th. This is how things run tomorrow. All 34 cars will get a guaranteed qualifying attempt. The order of that is determined tonight by a blind draw. Then the top 12 will advance to day 2. 13th to 30th is locked into place at the end of tomorrow. 31st to 34th must requalify on Sunday to make the 33. One driver will be going home and will not contest the greatest spectacle in racing, as galling as that will be for them.